It is a new week. Hello and welcome to the marketplace. In this bulletin, government clears almost all energy sector debt owed banks and power companies through the energy sector levy, but there are still some other areas pending. Also, Tullow Oil announces end of restructuring of operations, which resulted in layoff of some Ghanaian workers, freeze in dividend payment, and serious cost-cutting measures. We'll hear from the visiting group CEO.
These cycles, I've learned my lessons. So I think we'd like to make the business resilient so that when there is another downturn, we don't have to do that. But look, this is the effort.
Plus, we'll tell you why Bank of Ghana was right to decline invitation by Parliament to assist with investigation into the revocation of the banking licenses of defunct Unibank and UT Bank. Hello and welcome. Government has been able to clear almost all the energy sector debt owed to banks and power companies. The debt cleared is a little above 8 billion cedis out of the total 10 billion cedis. But there appears to be some arrears that the government may have to clear apart from the energy sector debts. George Riafi has more.
These debts were cleared by the ESLA PLC, the special purpose company created to clear these debts. The firm then went onto the market to issue bonds backed by what it was hoping to get from the taxes imposed on petroleum products, that is the energy sector levies. According to the report covering how the ESLA monies have been spent, and in March this year, it showed that the levy had brought in a little over 5 billion Ghana cedis. The company has used part of it to pay off the bondholders who get the monies to the ESLA PLC. The report also showed that the energy levy's performance was impacted last year because of COVID-19, an indication that it could by now have raised all the monies to clear the debt. We also can see that based on the debt cleared so far, government is now left with 2.6 billion Ghana cedis to pay the banks and the power companies. The state might now have to turn its attention to the bondholders and pay some 7.6 billion Ghana cedis ending May this year. The Energy Sector Levies Act was created in 2015 to help provide funding for the power generation firms and clear legacy debts in the energy sector, a move that would have opened the sector for some fresh investments and put it on a strong footing going forward.
Away from that, Tullow Oil has announced an end to restructuring of its operations, which saw the firm embark on some massive layoffs and freeze on dividend payments. Now, the move, which was necessitated by dwindling crude prices, forced the firm to also embark on several cost-cutting measures, which ensured even resulted in some Ghanaian workers with the firm being sent home. However, there are fears that with the company recently hit with COVID-19 shocks, there could be another round of layoffs. But visiting group chief executive Rahul Dir insists his outfit has dealt with the challenge. He has been speaking about this, among other issues, during his recent visit to Ghana.
I think there are two things. So I think the short answer is kind of yes, but I think this business, I think we're very excited about the potential we have in front of us. I think I look at today as if it's a completely fresh start. So it's like I just said to you, George, we just discovered 2.6 billion barrels of oil, and somehow magically, I don't know how, nature, God, whoever you believe in, put all this infrastructure in place. So in that sense, yes, I think it's to me, it's very, very exciting. I think it's also humbling because we are dealing with nature, we are dealing with very complex technology, very complex engineering. So we cannot be complacent. And every day, we always talk about this. I'm an engineer. We always talk about this. Every day requires attention. Every day requires resilience. Every day requires a continuous focus, right? So I don't think that we will ever, I would say to you, if we're sitting here a year from now, I would say to you, George, we could declare victory. So I think we have excitement. I think it's a new phase. I think there is a tremendous opportunity. I think we've built a good foundation, but we're not complacent. We cannot be.
So as I asked you earlier on, so if there will be any shutdown, this will be normal routine maintenance because of the kind of work that you've done over the period.
Yeah, so I think that the shutdowns that happen, right, is if you have either structural issues, right, which go back to kind of like the TRP thing was a design flaw, right, or it's the absence of regular maintenance, or it's the absence of work on integrity. So I think the team have focused a lot on clearing a tremendous large backlog of maintenance, integrity things, and all of that stuff. So as a consequence of that, the more work that you do, which is regular, the less unexpected shutdowns you have. So today, I would say we're in a much better place than we were even last year. And going forward, the goal is very much, it'll never be, you always aim for perfection. It's never quite perfect. But like, if you have a 98% uptime, that's a, just to give you a sense, George, we are planning for about a 95% uptime. That's the kind of more expected run rate. So you'll have some issues. You need to plan for those. But for the most part, I think through discipline, this is what I was saying to you earlier, that you need to pay attention on a daily basis, on an hourly basis on your operations. And that's the culture we're building. That's the mindset we're developing in Tullow.
Do I get a commitment from you that as we speak now, in terms of the restructuring of the group and even the Ghana operations, you brought that to an end, or, well, it's early days yet, it's work in progress?
No, I think that I've been here 11 months. I had a roadmap for myself when I first joined, where it was sort of like you had a house on fire. So somebody said, "Look, what is your mission?" I said, "Well, put the fire out, right?" So so I think the fire is out. I think the fire is out. I think we are in a stable position. I think we will continuously, as hopefully you get to know me better, I'm always restless. I would say, how is tomorrow better than today? Right? So we'll keep doing that. But that's a very deliberate thing. That's not crisis-driven. That's not, you're not knee-jerking on that. So I think when you're in a stable place, you're calm, you're taking balanced decisions. So I think today, as we are, I think we're in that place. And I think we will strive for continuous improvement. That's going to be our culture. But the sort of big things, I think that's sort of, my plan, which I'd set out, I think that's...
Will we see any further layoffs again?
Hopefully not. Look, for a leader, I think it's the most painful thing if you care for people, because, a lot of the stuff happened before I came, but I certainly kind of inherited a lot of that process. And it sort of breaks your heart because it's a personal thing, and I have historically done this rule that every person I will talk to in previous companies, I'll talk to them myself, because it's a human thing. And so as a good manager, you say, look, can I make my business resilient so that we can provide an enduring career to people, we can provide people stability, because it's people's lives, right? So look, it's not something that you come to very lightly. I've been through, like I said, many cycles. I've learned my lessons. So I think we'd like to make the business resilient so that when there is another downturn, we don't have to do that. But look, this is the effort.
So nobody should see you as a Hajat man coming in to...
No, I don't think anybody has kind of said that. I think it was more. Look, this was the third company I'm running, George. I mean, my first two were businesses that we built from the ground up. So I'm more of a person who builds rather than cuts. So I feel like the last year has been challenging because we've had to do a lot of difficult things. But now I feel like I'm in a place where I'm happier.
Well, that's an interview there with the Tullow Group CEO, with George Riafi. Away from that, Petro Ghana Limited says it is committed to delivering quality fuel and lubricant to customers after receiving triple certification from the International Organization for Standardization, that is the ISO. The certificates include ISO on quality management systems, environmental management systems, and occupational health and safety management. The Chief Executive of Petro Ghana, Michael Bozumbil, was speaking to Joy Business after presenting the certificates to regulators at Spintex here in Accra. Correspondent Kwame Yanka has more in this report.
Since 2014, Petro Ghana Limited has made excellence its hallmark. The company operates over 100 service stations and has paid more than 500 million Ghana cedis in taxes to government since it began operations. Prior to receiving the triple ISO certification, its internal systems and processes for procuring, storing, distributing and marketing fuel and lubricants were subjected to international audits. Chief Executive Officer of Petro Ghana Limited, Michael Bozumbil, says the latest achievement will push the company to do more.
It is an assurance to the customer that Petro is committed to delivering quality fuel in full quantity to them. So we have internal processes, systems and procedures that we've put in place to ensure that what we promise we are able to deliver. And it also means that we're able to do so in an environmentally safe and sustainable manner. So this to us is key. And to the government, it is an assurance that Petro will source its products from legitimate sources and pay the right taxes to the states.
Head of Marketing and Strategy at Petro Ghana, Kwesi Ziga, is encouraging consumers to patronize their products as the company sticks to safety and quality standards.
It means that in our network of over 100 stations across the country, we deliver consistently the clean fuel in full quantity. It also means that in the course of service at any of our stations, as a consumer, you can be assured that you are protected. You will not be put in harm's way. You can also be assured of air quality that you breathe in the course of service at any of our petrol stations, because we have systems in place to make sure the air quality, the petroleum products do not pollute the environment, the drains in the various communities that we operate. It also means that our workers, our staff, they are protected in the course of service.
Meanwhile, Executive Secretary of Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, Duncan Amwa, says this feat by Petro Ghana is a huge boost for the indigenous company.
There's a lot that Petro is doing. I have said that it is one of Ghana's best well-kept secrets. For those who buy from Petro, you hardly get complaints, and I have said over the years that we have followed the downstream, you will get all manner of complaints, but never would you come across a customer of Petro with a complaint, be it the quality of fuel they deliver and the quantity that consumers get. When we got notification that they are getting a triple certification, we only said it's an affirmation of something they have been doing already.
The company also recognized some staff who have played immense role leading to this feat. Kwame Yanke's reports for Joy Business.
Well, still to come on the marketplace, we'll tell you why the Bank of Ghana was right to decline invitation by Parliament to assist with investigation into the revocation of the banking licenses of the defunct Unibank and UT Bank. We have more on this after this break. This day. Banking industry. And you're welcome back. The Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana has charged all its members to support and pursue the Ghana Beyond Aid agenda in order to modify the taste and preferences of Ghanaian consumers in favor of made-in-Ghana products. According to its president, Dr. Daniel Kasati, marketers owe it an obligation to support the wonderful Ghana Beyond Aid agenda of government, adding the preference for made-in-Ghana goods will facilitate the growth of micro, small and medium-scale enterprises into giant institutions going forward. There is more in this report.
Dr. Kasati urged all marketers to incorporate the Ghana Beyond Aid agenda into their strategy and make it work at all costs. He disclosed this when he inducted 102 full associate, emerging associate, graduate members and honorary members, as well as 2 corporate members into the CIMG.
As you step into the corporate world, there are 3 absolute necessities you require for success. These are the right mindset, digitization and the use of technology, and customization. As marketers, we owe it as an obligation to support the wonderful Ghana Beyond Aid agenda of government. We can do this in many ways. 1, by helping the huge proportion of Ghanaian businesses which are classified as MSMEs and reported to be contributing some 70% of the nation's GDP. We can also do this by helping to modify the tastes and preferences of Ghanaians in favor of made-in-Ghana products.
He, however, expressed worry about the adulteration of the nation's culture with Western norms and values. He told Joy Business that all Ghanaians must be proud of their culture, which differentiates them from other nationals.
First of all, we need to come to terms with the fact that our cultural values are not, outdated values. They are values that we should cherish. They are values that we should, promote. So right from the home, what do we teach our children? What language and dialects do we encourage them to speak? What kind of movies are we exposing them to? Now, what are their tastes and preferences like? I have said that if you take your child somewhere into a restaurant to eat, you, the parent, you give the guidance. Pick the Ghanaian-made foods on those menus. Next time the children on their own go somewhere, that is the food they will eat. So I say, ask for a preference. If there's agbeleka klo, eat it. Ask for, yake and something like that. Treat these as if they were delicacies. Anytime you go out with your children, go for them, and less of the Western foods.
The inductees are coming on board at a time when the CIMG and the entire marketing fraternity in Ghana is celebrating the passage of the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana Act.
Now, ARB Apex Bank recorded profit before tax of 5.9 million cedis for the financial year of 2020. According to the Managing Director, Kojo Mata, activities in rural banking increased despite the advent of COVID-19. He spoke to Joy Business on the sidelines of the bank's 19th annual general meeting, of which we have more in this report.
ARB Apex recorded an appreciable last year. The bank's profits soared by 482% from 1 million cedis in 2019. Managing Director for the bank, Kojo Mata, revealed that rural banks increased their deposits despite the COVID-19 pandemic.
We have seen a lot of enthusiasm in the activities of the rural and community banks. The deposits of the RCBs have grown significantly in 2020, up to about 5.5 billion from 4 billion thereabouts. Even though there were issues about COVID, we saw a lot of confidence reposed in the rural and community banks. That also reflected in the deposits of ARB Apex Bank and has also resulted in a significant growth in the profitability of ARB Apex Bank from 1 million in 2019 to 5.9 million in 2020.
Board Chairman Dr. Anthony Albin accounted to shareholders some investments made by the ARB Apex Bank.
Your bank continued to invest heavily in infrastructure to support the smooth running of our RCBs. Besides, the besides the $8 million funding from the Ministry of Finance and the World Bank, the board recently approved an additional $1.2 million to support the upgrade of the data center and the disaster recovery site to avert any interruptions in the operations of the RCBs. One area of concern is a huge impairment provision against loans and overdrawn balances of some RCBs as the ARB Apex Bank tries to sustain the weak banks to forestall any contagion effect that may occur when the weak ones fail.
Meanwhile, Deloitte and Touche, independent auditors, have stated that the bank kept proper accounting records and has complied with provisions of Anti-Money Laundering Act 2008.
In our opinion, proper books of accounts have been kept by the bank so far as appears from our examination of those books. The information and explanations given to us were in the manner required by the Companies Act 2019, Act 992, and give a true and fair view of the following. A, the statement of financial position of the bank at the end of the financial year, and B, statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income for the financial year. The bank statement of financial position and statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income are in agreement with the accounting records and returns we reviewed. In our opinion, the bank has generally complied with the provisions of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2018, Act 749, as amended by the Anti-Money Laundering Amendments Act 2014, Act 874, and the Anti-Terrorism Act 2008, Act 762, and regulations made under these enactments.
The 19th Annual General Meeting was climaxed by a book launch. The book, Together for Progress, is authored by the first Managing Director of the bank, Emmanuel Kwapong.
Still watching the marketplace, the Bank of Ghana was right to decline invitation by Parliament to assist with investigations into the revocation of the banking licenses of defunct Unibank and UT Bank. Now, that's the assertion by banking consultant Dr. Richmond Etuahene. According to him, the central bank has the power per the Banks and Specialized Deposit-Taking Institutions Act to turn down the invitation. The regulator has argued that the decision to decline Parliament's invitation is according to its statutory powers under the Banks and Specialized Deposit-Taking Institutions Act, which is Act 930. Banking consultant Dr. Richmond Etuahene joins us via Zoom, via phone actually, with more on his assertion. Doc, we're so grateful that you joined us. What's the basis for your argument on this matter?
My basis, good afternoon, thank you for the opportunity. My basis stems out from the BSDI 2016 Act 930. If you read section 140 and 141 and 142, is explicitly stated that if you have any grievances concerning your withdrawal of license, there are due processes that you have to go through. But Parliament was not mentioned anywhere. If you give me time, I will tell you some of the processes. The first line is that within 30 days, if you feel aggrieved, you appeal to Bank of Ghana, and Bank of Ghana will refer to the Chief Justice, which the Chief Justice would have to appoint a judicative panel to review the case. And if the panel review the case and you're not satisfied, then you have the right to go to High Court for a review. And if you're not satisfied, then you go to arbitration, where you go to the dispute resolution.
All right.
Where it is clearly stated where you can go and solve yourself.
But Doc, others are also of the argument that the Bank of Ghana is answerable to the people as regards whatever happened with their funds, in that Parliament is also a representation of these people through the members of Parliament. Hence, them, calling for this particular clarity on the matter with the Bank of Ghana. Do you think this is justified enough on the basis of democratic governance?
Yeah, in democratic governance, you're right, because I even checked the Constitution to find out that powers that the Parliament has got. There was nothing like that. And I go back to the law. What the Parliament should have done, which to me meets international best practices, is that when all the dust has settled, then the Bank of Ghana should take, the Parliament should take an overview to look at the whole sector. What brought about the whole hullabaloo in the sector, you don't single out two out of the 9 banks and the 347 microfinances and the savings and loans. They should take their time. When the debts are settled, then they should look a total critical review of what happened. What lessons have we learned? How do we stop this happening in the future? And if it happens in the future, what will be the strategy? So these are matters after the court, because the thing is already pending in court. The case was already pending in court. So
exactly.
If you go to court and the court say that they are guilty, and you say Parliament is not guilty, who takes the show? Because Bank of Ghana is taking its power from the act that was actually passed in 2016, and it is explicitly stated, as I've told you. So if you bypass it, what you're saying is good. It's done in other jurisdictions. It's been done in UK, it's done in America, it's been done in Nigeria. So what you should do is that you let the dust settle, and then you look at the whole sector, rather than picking one or two. Because if you pick 1 and 2, what have you done to the other 7 or the other 347 microfinances? I think they have the right to do it, but they don't do it while the thing is in court. And when you're doing it, it's a different objective.
Great. Doc, we're so grateful that you joined us with your inputs on this matter between the Bank of Ghana and Parliament. But just before we go, information reaching Joy News indicates that a police officer has been shot at Kolebu. Another person is said to have sustained severe injuries. And of course, we are joined on the telephone lines by Adum FM reporter Mensa Abrampa on this. Mensa, if you could hear me, what exactly is happening where you are?
Hello?
Yeah, if you could hear me, what exactly is happening where you are regarding this crime?
Okay, so currently I'm standing at Timber Market Town in the capital city. There's a DSI to robbery. There's a bullion van that was going to the Timber Market to, according to eyewitness, going to collect an amount of money from the market. Apparently, there was this robbery monitoring the footsteps of the bullion van with taxi and Okada, that is motorbike. And so when they realized that the bullion van has moved towards the market, a place where there's a lot of mechanics, the ones on the motorbike chased the bullion van and shot the policeman who was company of the car. So when they shot the policeman, then they shot the driver, and another bullet was shot at a woman at far distance who saw exactly what happened. Reports is eyewitness tells us that the policeman who was shot died instantly, and then the woman who was looking at what was happening has also died. So 3 people were shot, and then 2 out of the 3 are dead as we speak now. The bodies of such people have been taken to the police mortuary for preservation and autopsy.
Were there any injuries, and if so, where are the injured now?
One person was injured, and he has been taken to the Kolebu teaching hospital. There are lots of policemen at the scene now trying to take bits and pieces of information from residents and eyewitnesses around so that it will be able to know what to do. I wanted to speak to the police commander who is in charge right now. He says that the operational commander is coming, so I should wait for him so that he will be able to tell us what exactly transpired and what the information they have taken so far.
Great. We're so grateful for this update. The fact that a police officer has been shot dead in a failed, armed robbery attack on a bullion van somewhere at Kolebu. We shall bring you more in our subsequent bulletins. But that's how we end the marketplace. I'm Charles Ayete. Many thanks for watching.